Hey everyone, it's Jason and welcome back. We've got another Talking Head segment. I'm going to try to do this one fairly quick, but I want to show you the importance of spending money to make money. And so I've been like holding off on this one for a while, and I don't know why. I've been like fighting it. Maybe it's because I'm old now and change sucks. Um, but I've had EVOTO reach out several times to me, and I don't know if you're familiar with EVOTO, but it is a software and photo editing program, an AI-based type photo editing program. And I'm really new at it. So I just downloaded it a few weeks ago. And really the reason was, let me stop. They've reached out and I've not ever really taken them up on it before. And so I was just like, I don't know. I talked to a couple of photographer friends and they swear by it. Now, I think that again, if you don't have volume work or you don't have, like, to me, this is going to benefit me in the studio so much. If you don't have some of that work, maybe this program isn't necessarily right for you. But for the amount of money, there's so much stuff that I haven't even learned in this software yet. For studio, I fully 100% am behind it. For on location photos, the skin softening, the skin retouch, the blemish removal, all that's fantastic, but I haven't delved into that too much. And honestly, this video, I'm going to show you more in the studio and why I think this is a game changer. And maybe I'm just way late to the ball game, but this is incredible. So I had a photo shoot that I had to do with a studio fairly recently, and it wasn't big volume, but there was going to be about 36 photos that I needed to push out in a quick turn time. And typically, if it was on location, I don't feel like that would have been difficult for me. And not that this would be difficult for me. But so my thought process was, have you ever had those retouchers reach out to you on Instagram? I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But not too long ago, I had one reach out and it actually felt human. It felt like there was somebody behind that message. And so I went ahead and reached back and was interested to what they were doing, because at that time I had a whole bunch of studio work that I had just finished, like over 300 or 400 photos in studio. And man, it takes so much time. So I reached back to this retoucher and I was like, here, let me, because of course they want to let you test a couple of photos, right? So I sent them a couple of my photos and they came back and they were incredible, fantastic, looked almost identical to what my work looked like. And I had sent them some samples of this is how I want it to look. And so when it came back, that's how I want it to look. So when I got this work request for these 36 studio photos that I needed, and again, it was a short term, I reached out to the retoucher and I was like, hey, how much would you charge to retouch these 36 images? And actually, I think it was 20 images after I pulled out some that I could retouch easily, that didn't require a whole bunch of Photoshop work as far as background removal and all that kind of stuff. So the quote came in at $81 and change. It's like, all right. I mean, it's not bad. $81 wasn't bad at all. I was really ready to spend $81. And then I talked to my friends, and my two friends, they were like, dude, check it out, go with it, at least download it, do like the free sample, test it out. So I tested it out and immediately I was like, this is freaking insane. This is nuts what it's capable of doing in the amount of time. And so we've all heard that phrase, time is money. So I want to show you why I decided to go ahead and spend $80 for the entry-level package for EVOTO, as opposed to $80 to have 20 images retouched. So I'm going to do screen capture on the screen. I'm going to show you basically a photo in Photoshop. I'm going to do a quick edit on it, and then I'm going to show you the same workflow in EVOTO. And you be the judge. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. So let me get this thing rolling. So I've got one image right here in Photoshop, and it's probably the easiest one for me to edit. And then I've got 5 images plus the same in EVOTO. This is EVOTO here. And so I did decide to reach back to EVOTO and say, you know what, let me do it. But I paid for the software. So what I'm going to tell you in this is why, if nothing else, the $80 for the entry level package was worth it. Like it saved me so much time, and it will save me time, which equates to my money. So let's go back to Photoshop. And again, I'm going to do this fairly quick. So what basically I do in Photoshop is I duplicate my layers first, and then I'm going to go to remove background right here. And so what that does is it's going to create a layer mask. So if I command click on that, you can see it's selected just my dancer here, and it's removed out everything. So if I turn off these two layers, it turns off everything. So I've done that. Normally what I would actually do is I would go through, and I'm going to go through and make sure that that selection's good. As you can see, like right here, it didn't select that. So using my patch tool, I could use my lasso tool. I'm going to hold shift and just select the extra images. So I would do that, and I'm going to scroll through and do that with all of this stuff. For the sake of speed on this video, I'm not going to go through and do all of it because I don't want the video to be that long. I want the video to be short enough, but I want you to still see my process. So I'm looking through to see if anything is like glaring, like if it really just made bad selections. And for the most part, it doesn't. It does a pretty good job. I can see there on the toe, so I'm going to grab a little bit extra on the toe. Too much. Let me grab that again right there. Okay, so then we're going to come in here. Good. Good so far. Good so far there. That's fine. Missed a little bit of the nail here. So I'm just coming back. I'm letting the computer do most of my selection for me. And then I go back through and I tighten it up a little bit. And this is how I did it all before using EVOTO. All right, so I've got my selection. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. And actually, all I'm going to do is click the the layer mask tool here. Because I want it to select everything that I now have selected. So I can just go ahead and get rid of this, and then I'm going to duplicate it again. I know there's different ways to do it, but that's how I do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click this again, command click to make that selection again. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to expand selection. So I'm going to expand the selection by 80 pixels. And then I'll just come back in here, and really I do that more for the hair because I want to make sure that none of the hair is outside of that selection. And so even, I'll even draw a little bit more. So now I'm going to go down to this middle layer here, and I'm going to say content aware fill, and it's going to do content aware fill. So now I can deselect, command D. I can turn off that top layer, and as you can see, she's gone. It's filled it very well. But what do I still have? I still have all of this out here. So I'm going to grab that real quick, and I'm going to use my patch tool again, and I'm just going to kind of select these edges here and just kind of come around and do all this just like that. All right, so and now I can just do content aware fill. I don't know how much time I've spent on it, and I'm spending a little bit more time because I'm explaining it to you. But what I do want you to notice is there's a little bit of a color cast here, and a little bit of a color cast here. So I can go through and I can keep manipulating that a little bit. I'm just using that patch tool, and I'm making a selection, and I'm clicking and dragging, and it's doing a content fill there. So I can do that, and I can try to clean it up. You might not be able to see it on the computer screen or the phone screen, that whatever you're watching on, but I can see a little bit of that color cast. I also know that it was there because the studio that I shot in was like a 9-foot ceiling. I had my backdrop all the way to the top, and it's got 2 fluorescent lights that are pushing light right onto that background. Anyway, so I haven't even cleaned up the floor yet, so we'd still have to come in and clean up the floor. I've got little pieces of tape where I was telling my dancers to sit, so I'm going to clean that up real quick. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So from here, what I do is I do a filter, and then I do a Gaussian blur. Now, this is how I typically do all of my studio work, and I will blur it at 75%. So it kind of wipes away that stuff right there. I'm going to add a layer mask back to that. Remember, it's blurred, and I'm going to paint some of that out. I want to paint out some of that blurred area, so I make sure that my brush is set to black. I'm using my brush tool, set to black. I'm going to change the opacity to 30%. And again, this is how I did pretty much all of my studio work before EVOTO. It's not a tough process. This is fairly easy. Like I said, this was probably my easiest one. Easiest one to do. And then to make sure that I actually have pulled back some of that selection, I'm going to go back across her body just in case I deleted out any part of her skin that I wanted. I'm going to just come back in and tighten that back up, bringing that back. And what you'll notice over here in the thumbnail is you can see I'm starting to outline her shape basically with that brush tool, and it's painting black over that white, which is revealing what's underneath. That's not perfect. And of course you can see I've still got there. So then what I do is I come through and I add a little noise layer. And this is just, again, how I've done it the whole time. I'm going to grab all those layers, merge. Now I'm going to come through and make some of these final little adjustments. I had a seam on my paper right there, content aware. So the floor looks pretty good. And then I'm going to come through, because it's how I always do it, I'm going to add a little bit of warmth. That's what this layer is. It's a color fill set to soft light at 7%. And then I want to add some contrast. I'm using a curves layer, so I just kind of pull that over, maybe drop that down. I just kind of eyeball it, y'all. I just eyeball it. Now remember, I haven't even gone into EVOTO yet, but that's my image right there. It's pretty good, solid, I still see some of that lighter contrast or that lighter color cast over here, but I think for this video, it's good, and I would be perfectly okay showing this on Instagram. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into EVOTO. All right, so here's that same image, and the cool thing with EVOTO is you can make these selections to one of your images and then apply it to all of them. And I've only pulled 3 over that are similar. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one, because this one, she's kind of coming over that background. This one, she's close to the background. Y'all can see those fluorescent lights up top, putting that little bit of that color or that color cast onto my background. So, I've got some little stuff on my flooring, but so now I'm not going to go over the actual tools or anything, but you do have like your color adjustments. You've got your portrait retouching, your background adjustments. And when I just tested this, all I did was literally, I probably have an hour of learning in this software. I don't have much more than that, an hour. So I come in here and I'm looking for my background adjustments. So I'm going to say, let's see here, distraction removal. So the distractions are going to be pretty much like all of this stuff. You'll actually notice this little watermark. And so EVOTO puts a watermark over all of the images while you have it in their software, and it removes the watermark once you export it. Now, exporting, when you pay for EVOTO, it's basically you're paying for, I pay like $80 a year or $6 or $7 a month, and that's good for 800 exports. All right, so I don't export 800 images. So, that's where I'm saying, like, if you don't do a lot, then you probably don't need the full package. I don't do 800 studio shoots in a month, but it's still worth it for me for like $6 or $7 a month. But anyway, let's go back. So we're going to remove these distractions. So I'm going to select that, and then it pops up with this little auto detect distractions. So I'm going to say there are distractions, and as you can see, it's pulled out those distractions already. Look at even on the knee. So let's come in here on the knee. Look at that. Is it perfect? No, but it's dang near perfect. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm still figuring my way around the software, but you see, we still have some of that color cast. It still has some of those floor distractions. So we're going to go, yep. So then we're going to go clean backdrop. So look what it did to the floor. So then you have your sliders for your background and your floor. So if I wanted to pull back some of my floor, I can. But, you know, it did great on the floor. I don't really need to pull that back. It's nice and smooth. It still has that beautiful transition. All right, so that's good right there. I can play around with that. Then we've got this next toggle, Unify Lighting. Look what that did to my lighting. Like, that gets rid of that color cast right there. So I can do non-solid background if I want. Kind of give me that back. Or I could go to solid. So then I can maybe pull this back a little bit. It still gives me some of that. So again, I would tweak it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I just kind of go all the way, pull this. I'm just playing, y'all, just playing around with it. Color banding, let's remove color banding. So we've got a solid background. Let's see what it does with a non-solid. Let's go back with solid. Again, we're just kind of changing around, but look how fast this is, y'all. Look at how fast this is. This is incredible. It also has a background changer. I could probably change the background if I wanted to. I have no reason to, but let's just take a look. That's pretty good. It's okay, but I'm not going to do that. So I don't even know how to go back. We'll go Command Z, Command Z. Okay, good. So we want to go back to that. So we still even have our shadow, y'all. It's fantastic. So now I've got this, right? So now I'm going to grab these other two, the two other images that basically have the same thing. So same thing, all shot in the same colors. So that's why I can grab those, because I've got two others down here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say sync. And then I want it to sync all of those. Now, again, the only thing I really did was the background. But look what it does. Boom. Boom. Now, my crop is off. I got to fix my crop. But it will actually even sync your crop. That's incredible. Incredible. Fantastic. Now, I haven't done, like I said, I haven't done any of the face stuff yet. I can do the face. I can add color. What I have actually found so far in, like I said, the hour that I've been working is I like to get it basically where I want it. I'll pull it into Photoshop, still add my color, still add my contrast, and then I'm done. But let me go to this because the video is getting long here. So look at this. Look at all the distractions in this. I haven't messed with this one and I haven't messed with this one, but let's see what this actually does. And I'm telling you, this image right here, when I had to edit this one the old way, took forever. Just because you're pulling out a lot of stuff, but let's just check it out. Distraction removal, look at that. Look what it did to the distractions already. Now, there still is a seam right here. I might have to go into Photoshop to get that. We'll have to see. So we've got the distractions are removed, good. Let's do a clean backdrop. Okay, that's good. The floor looks good. Background and floor. Let's see what unifying lighting does. Not much of a change. I think I like it with the non-solid better just because we get some of that color contrast in there. And that's fantastic. So it does look like I'm going to have to go through and clean up that background a little bit. But look what look at the starting point that it got me to. Like, that's fantastic. It took me seconds. Let's do this one. Distraction removal. Still has a little bit of that line. There's still some of that shadow there from the softbox. So let's clean up the background a little bit. I might have to go back in and do some tweaking there. Because we want to fix that. That floor looks good right there. Again, you notice the little watermarks. They get out whenever you export. Unify lighting. No, I like the other way better. But I could probably go non-solid. Yeah, color banding. So I'm probably going to have to come back in and correct some of that stuff in Photoshop. But for the most part, it gets me much faster to a space that I can actually easily work with. So as you can see, I just went through and made those basic edits to those 5 images in pretty much the same amount of time that it took me to make the one edit in Photoshop. And again, once you make that edit to one, and say you've got 300 backgrounds in a studio that you did studio shoots for, whatever it was, you can grab all of them, sync it, and it's going to sync them all, and it's going to make the same corrections, and it's going to look fantabulous. Change is tough sometimes. Change is tough. And like I said, I was fighting it for a while, but this is incredible. I'm going to have more videos kind of over this software because, like I said, EVOTO did reach out, and I did finally say, yes, I'll start making some videos for you guys. But I bought the software. I bought the entry package because I thought, you know what? I don't push out 80 or 800 photos a month, so I can do that one fairly easily. But what I have been doing is trying to go back through some of my older stuff just to see how quickly I could have actually done it. But having those images that I was going to have to pay that retoucher to do, and the fact that I can do that now super fast, like every year I do work with several different studios, and we're all shooting it on a solid seamless background, stuff like that. And so now, where it took me like days to edit 200 photos, it's going to take me hours. So that's where you can really see that time equates to money. If I build my price based off of, hey, this is how long it's going to take, this is the type of work that's going to go into it, but I can cut literal days off of that time, that means more of that money is into my pocket, and I can start functioning on and working on other things as opposed to having to continue working on this one set of photos. So that's all I've got for this one. Hopefully you got something out of it. Check out EVOTO. You can get it, and I think you can get like 6 free credits or 15 free credits. I don't have a coupon code yet because I haven't started really working for them yet or doing stuff with them yet, but I wanted to get this out there. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you made it this far. It's been a lot longer video than I thought, but very, very important, I think, in my workflow, and I think it can greatly impact your workflow. Remember, I haven't even touched the skin stuff yet. I haven't even touched it. So thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the little bell for notifications for every time I post new content, Wednesdays and Fridays now. And until next time, keep shooting.